Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Car Reviews podcast with CollectorCarCanada.CA. This week, we have a couple of ultra low mileage cars to bring you. I can't believe we're so lucky to get two cars with such low mileage. The first one we're going to talk about is a 2005 Mazda RX-8 SE Grand Touring, and that is with a 6-speed manual transmission with under 15,000 kilometers. So yes, a 2005 RX-8 under 15,000 kilometers. It's finished in silver. Sunlight silver is the Mazda term for the color. It comes on a black interior. This car, unlike a lot of, 15 or 20-year-old Japanese sports car, is entirely stock. No modifications to it at all. Of course, it doesn't have the original tires. It has the original wheels, though, and the tires that are on it, which were put on in 2021, are the stock size. So sunlight silver on the black. Of course, the interesting thing about the RX-8 and all RXs is it's got a rotary engine. So no pistons and cylinders in this, a rotary engine. And an interesting tidbit, RX actually stands for Rotary Experimental. So there have been a series of 8 RXs over the years with Mazda. Another unique feature, very unique feature about this RX-8 is its doors. I want to call it a coupe. I'm tempted to call it a coupe, but it's technically not because it's got 2 rear hinge doors for access to the rear seat. Well demonstrated in the video that is to follow and well photographed on our listing. But yeah, rear hinges on the doors. So I call it a 2+2. Another thing that's pretty fun on our listing is the collection of driving videos. The owner took me for a little ride very recently, and I shot video of him driving the car, putting it through its paces. Not driving overly fast, but excellent demonstrations of how good a handler this car is, and that's certainly what it was reputed to be by automotive journalists at the time it was new. So yeah, the Mazda RX-8 2005 model SE Grand Touring with a 6-speed manual transmission. Find it on CollectorCarCanada.CA as lot 193. Another low miler, even lower mileage, a 2016 Ford Mustang premium convertible with EcoBoost engine, and it is under 12,000 kilometers. That's right, a 2016 Mustang convertible under 12,000 kilometers. I'll say this about the Mustang, it also applies to the Mazda. A real opportunity to get an almost new sports car without the new car price. So on the Mustang, I could not find a mark on it. You'll see that I appear in the podcast video snippet for it. And I always I say this in the video, I like to go to see the driver's seat because that's where you're most likely to find wear, being that the car doesn't get used without someone sitting in the driver's seat. And even the driver's seat looks doggone close to the way it would have rolled out of the factory in Dearborn, Michigan. So yeah, a couple performance specs on the car. The 2.3 liter 16 valve turbocharged engine is good for 310 horsepower. At least that's its factory rating, which actually exceeded the power of the V6 of the same year. A little bit counterintuitive, but not by much, but it is a higher horsepower than the V6 of the same year. And it's also got 320 pound-feet of torque, and that torque curve maxes out from 2,500 to 45 RPM. So you experience the max torque at quite a rev range. Of course, it's got a power top, as you'd expect, one button and one release on the top to get it up and down. But that's no surprise. I know someone from my connections in one of the local Mustang clubs who's got a 1970 Mustang convertible, and it has a power top as well. So yeah, power top on this Mustang, power group inside, and all the modern technology as you'd expect from a 2016 model. The Microsoft Sync system, I'm going to spell that because our closed captioning system doesn't really like that word in the Microsoft context. So Microsoft Sync system, if you want to look that up and get details about it on all the electronics. Of course, Bluetooth for your phone, hands-free phone, and a really booming stereo system with a Shaker logo on it. 6-speed automatic in this car with paddle shifters mounted to the steering wheel. So again, that's the 2016 Ford Mustang Premium Convertible with EcoBoost engine for 310 horsepower, CollectorCarCanada.CA, lot 190. And the Mazda again, an 05 Mazda RX-8 SE Grand Touring 6-speed, CollectorCarCanada.ca, lot 193. Here come the videos. Enjoy them, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Car Reviews podcast on CollectorCarCanada.ca. Today, we're telling you about a 2005 Mazda RX-8 GT. It comes with the 6-speed manual transmission. I'll fire up the engine in a minute and give you the precise reading, but under 15,000 kilometers on this car, under 15000. So I'll start it up. I'll give you that actual mileage number, and it is in kilometers despite my use of the word mileage. And then we'll take a little tour of the car. On CollectorCarCanada.ca, this 2005 Mazda RX-8 GT is lot 193. So let's fire it up. Okay, so first things first, as lots of beeping happens, the reading on the odometer, 14584, so 14,584 kilometers. This car will be delivered to its new owner at under 15,000 kilometers. Just while I'm thinking of it, I'm going to open up this nav display. So 2005, kind of ahead of its time with nav. There's an open button here for the screen. And the button over here to the left reads tilt. That just tilts the screen in case there's a glare coming off it for reflection. As I say, while I'm thinking of it, before we get to the interior, this is a DVD powered system for the nav, and the DVD player is in between the back seats here. So I'll pop the hood and let's take a look. I'll also pop the trunk so that when we get to it. All right, so I know this car, we have a prop rod, so hopefully it doesn't take too much fiddling. So as a lot of Mazda people would know, Mazda is very well known for its use of rotary engines. This car, as you might expect, has a rotary engine. In fact, RX stands for Rotary Experimental. So this being the RX-8, it's the 8th car that Mazda has used a rotary engine in. And they go sequentially from RX-1. Very common in the collector car and sports car world. We all know about RX-7s, and of course this RX-8 replaced the RX-7. So as the label shows here, come on in, Mr. Cameraman. This generation of rotary engines known as a Renesis multi-side port, and the displacement of this engine, of course we don't have pistons going up and down in cylinders, we only have one rotary working away. The displacement's only 1.3 liters. So a nice smooth running idle. We'll take a look at the trunk, being that I popped the trunk as well. Nice clean trunk here. No spare tire with the RX-8. As you'll see here, I won't pull it out. The original wheel nuts sit there with a key for the wheel locks that are currently installed. And then this black container is a little compressor to get you home safely with a sealant. And then there is a spare tire jack and tire changing kit in there too. Looks like that jack hasn't been touched in this car's under 15,000 kilometers. All right, so just giving a quick tour of the exterior, this 2005 RX-8 with under 15,000 kilometers. Very stock car, no modifications done to this car. With the GT trim level, you can see we've got a set of fog lights here. I think we might have radiator back here. There's some honeycomb pattern and a little grill there for an intake. But yeah, you'll also notice this triangle theme throughout the car. We can see it in the headrests as well. If we look closely when we get to the interior, we'll see it on the shifter. Of course, that's the shape of the inside of the rotary engine. That's why we keep seeing that theme. So why don't you go in the sun and I'll go in the shade. So we got a slider sunroof here. It is power. It's also got a tilt function. An interesting thing with this car is it's a 2+2 seating arrangement, but it technically does have 4 doors. They might not be what we'd expect. So conventionally opening front doors. And then for access to the rear seat, we've got a rear hinge door here. And inside you can see that console area. That is where the DVDs are loaded for the nav system. We've got a car inside the garage revving up its engine. I'm not sure if the sound's picking it up. So coming around the car, you can see it's got some neat body treatments. There's a vent at the end of the fender, and then we've got the same 2 doors over here on this side. A bit of a ground effects treatment down below. The original 5-spoke wheels are in place. I know it's a square setup for the wheels. 225/45 R18s on these. I did notice the date code on the tires earlier, as they were manufactured in 2020. Let's show Mr. Cameron. Let's show that there are some marks on the rear wheels. The front wheels are free of any marks, but you can see some light marking on the rear wheels. This was the proverbial little old lady car before the current owner bought it in 2020. And kind of period correct for the day. We've got some clear tail lights, and then we've got pipes coming out on either side, chrome tips, chrome exits on those, and here's that triangular treatment again. And just while I'm at it, I'll show you the gas door. As you'd expect for such a low mileage car, we can't find any rust on it, including inside that gas door. We're not going to be able to show the underside of the car in the video, but we do have some photos of the underside of the car from all 4 corners, about as clean as the exterior of the car looks here. I will note that when the current owner bought the car from the previous little old lady owner, there were some marks on this driver's side of the car. Apparently at her home there was a pole next to where she parked, and she left a couple of scratches on the car. He did have this done professionally. He had it done right. He's painted this side of the car. So no Bondo, just a little bit of sanding, prep, and a paint on this side. It might benefit from a buff. In fact, the owner told us that the painter wanted to buff it again before he picked it up, but when he picked it up, he was ready to grab it. He should still go get the buff. And that wraps up the interior. All right, just another look at the interior. I'll start it up so that all the accessories are running. Make sure that's in neutral and it is. As I mentioned earlier, I think 6-speed manual transmission. I'll let the handbrake down. Maybe the camera can come in and get a look at that. Again, rotary triangle theme, rotary engine triangle theme right on the shifter, which is kind of a neat treatment. A lot of the Mazda people are pretty loyal to their rotary engines. So we have a digital speedometer. The tachometer goes up to 10,000 kilometers with a red line at about 8,500. To its left, so the tachometer circle with the built-in sort of incorporated digital display for the speed is in the center. Off to its left, there's another round gauge showing water temperature and fuel level. There'd be warning lights built into that. None of those are illuminated right now. And on the right, another round analog gauge for oil pressure. And below that is the trip odometer. There's an A and B trip. and 14,840, pardon me, 14,584 kilometers, 14584. Steering wheel mounted buttons. We've got the cruise control on the right side, and we've got some to control the radio over here on the left. I think I showed this earlier, but there's the nav display. So if you're not actively using the navigation, you can just pop it down. But I'll demonstrate the tilt again first, and then the button to put it away. This is the, as Mazda had on several of its cars in the period, this display is for the radio. There's a clock and the HVAC. So the HVAC controls are down here, the radio controls are here. So more of a circular theme here in the inner stack. This is technically an ashtray. Current owner uses it as a change purse. There's a lighter, and I'm thinking it looks like it's never been used. Certainly no smoking in this car. And then in between here, early joystick look, trackball look. So there's a controller here for the nav and a press button for the enter, and some menu and voice controls. Heated seats, they're controlled right here. Full leather, both the front buckets and the two seats in the back. A 2+2 layout, no middle seat in the rear, so just two belts back there. Of course, we've got the nav DVD system in front, or in between the two rear occupants. You can see there are stock RX-8 floor mats in place. They're embroidered with the RX-8 logo for both front seat passenger. We have the OEM ones in the rear, but there's no embroidery on those. And yeah, that's about all we wanted to show you in this RX-8. There are power window equipped power locks, power seats over here as well. You can see me in motion here with the power seat, and power mirrors as well. So that's a quick tour on our car reviews podcast of this 2005 Mazda RX-8 GT with 14,584 kilometers. It is on CollectorCarCanada.CA as lot 193. Like I said about the car you just heard about, the 2016 Mustang, also with very low mileage, this one is perfect for the person looking for a JDM performance sports car without the new car price. So again, CollectorCarCanada.CA, lot 193. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the CollectorCarCanada.CA car reviews podcast. Today we're looking at a 2016 Ford Mustang EcoBoost Premium Convertible. Low miles on this one. As I look at the odometer right now, 11,462.8 kilometers. So under 12,000 kilometers since new. So I'm going to start it up. We'll take a look under the hood. We'll also put the top down to demonstrate that for you. And away we go. So a push button start on this Ford. Starts right up. And as I say, let's enjoy the sunny day, and we'll open up the top. No problems at all with it going down, nice and quiet. There are a couple of covers on the rear of the roof on the sides that cover up the hardware. Those are in the trunk and included with the car. This car has been so lightly used that the covers have never been out of the original Ford bag. So as I say, those are in the trunk. So I'll pop the hood. And let's take a look under there. All right, so super clean under this hood. Often we'll get sellers who are keen enough about their car and wanting to present it well, which we always support, of course, and they'll have the engine shampooed. This car, it has not been shampooed. This is the way the engine has looked since new, with a little bit of road grime and dust here and there. So often when sellers ask me about a car, I like to tell them the worst flaw about the car to give them a sense of what they might be in for. The only real flaw I can find with this car is that it does not include rear floor mats. The front floor mats are a Ford item specific to the Mustang. They snap into place. I might show you those in the video, but yeah, no rear floor mats with this car. So let's take a little walk around it. As you see, the car's got 5 double spoke wheels. They're the OEM item. You can see the Mustang logo in the center of those. They're skinned in Pirelli P0 tires. These are a 20-inch wheel, so maybe a little more than you might have expected from the EcoBoost 2.3 liter 4-cylinder with a turbocharger. But yeah, 20-inch wheel, and they're the same size all around. So a square setup at 265, 35, 20. We'll have a little listen at the exhaust on one side. And let's take a look, listen at it over here. So as you might expect, stock exhaust, nice and quiet. While I'm thinking of it, there's a fun feature on this generation of Mustang. You can see the sequential tail lights. So you get those on the indicators on the rear. Just for fun, we'll take a look at the right side as well. There we go. So getting back to the heart of the matter here under the hood, this engine, as I say, is a 2.3 liter EcoBoost turbo 4-cylinder engine. So at the time this car was produced, the Mustang was offered in 4-cylinder format like this one with a V6 and of course a V8 in the Mustang GTs and better. As you'd expect, the V8s are the most powerful engines, but somewhat surprisingly, this 4-cylinder turbo is more powerful than the V6 for the year. And the horsepower rating on this car when it was new was 310 horsepower. So certainly no slouch and a long way from the Fox body 4-cylinders, which were the same displacement at 2.3 liters, mind you, no turbo. And they checked in at 90 horsepower. So they have a place in the market, of course, but this EcoBoost certainly a surge in power relative to those previous generations. So the car is finished in its original race red on a black leather interior. Even the interior is unmarked, really. I can't find any marks on it. Usually, if you're going to see wear on the seats, you're going to find it on the driver's seat because, of course, the car's never operated without a driver. But even this driver's seat looks spick and span, brand spanking new. Okay, so just going through some more features on the exterior of the car. As you can see, there are fog lights fitted to this car to supplement the HID headlights. A nice traditional Mustang emblem on the grille up here. Again, the car finished in race red, and this splitter up front looks pretty aggressive for the 4-cylinder version. 4-cylinder really does undersell it though with that turbocharger. Again, we're looking at 310 horsepower factory rating and greater than 300 pound-feet of torque. The torque, actually, the max torque is 320, and that is achieved at quite a range of RPM. Between 2,500 and 4,500 RPM, you get to enjoy those 320 pound-feet of torque. So heated mirrors here. You can see that each side's got a double mirror to give the wide-angle view. There's one over here on the driver's side as well. And as I was saying, the 5 double-spoke 20-inch OEM wheels. We've got dual exhaust out here. You can see a matching Mustang emblem on the rear. Exactly the same look as the front, of course. The single reverse light and in the center, and of course the sequential tail lights, complemented of course by the center high mount stop light, the third brake light in the center. And there's a fixed antenna, so nothing to worry about in terms of an antenna either in your glass or a power antenna. Fixed antenna, which suits that sync system, infotainment system quite well. And we've got a fuel door that latches in and out. No cap, of course. By 2016 here, Ford had moved to the no cap look. Nice and clean inside even there. And yeah, so as we look around, kind of a neat Ford emblem here on the glass. And there's an emblem here for the sound screen glass, a Ford feature to keep out the unwanted road sounds. And matching that front splitter up here we saw, you can see there's a nice matching skirt which juts out, giving the car a bit of an aggressive look. And it even matches all the way around the rear of the car as well. In case I don't get to it when we're on the inside, the car does have a reverse camera, and we can see the lens for the camera right here. Continuing with the interior features of the car, it's got a sync infotainment system with a nice screen here. It's about a 7-inch screen. A big round tachometer, which ranges up to 8,000 RPM, 6,500 RPM red line. At the base of that is a water temperature gauge. And then on the other side here, another big round speedometer, and gauge, in this case a speedometer, up to 260 with a fuel gauge at the base of it. Nice big 3-spoke steering wheel here, multifunction. You can see it's got sort of the joystick for the in-display between the two big gauges, the tach and the speedo, as well as cruise control buttons here to get that going, and then some buttons also to control phone for Bluetooth. 3 big vents in the center here and a vent on each side. We've got a Mustang emblem here. I'll give you a walkthrough of those from the driver's seat, as well as controls for HVAC, infotainment. Chrome look on the switches, which is a nice tribute to the way Mustangs were in the 60s. Automatic shifter, 6-speed automatic transmission here. I left out the shaker logo, which is an indication of with the sound system in the car. There's a USB and a 12-volt charger here, as well as inside. So here's a good look at that interior I was describing. I didn't mention that the paddle shifters are in place on the steering wheel to support that 6-speed automatic transmission. Glove box is here, front floor mats, power seats as well, and then the rear seats, 2 belts only in the rear. You can see that's a speaker. So 2 big speakers in the rear as well. There's a little bit of a look at the top. So here's a look at the underside from the rear. As you see, geez, this car looks like it hasn't rolled at all. It has rolled a little under 12,000 kilometers, but it really does present as new. So this has been a look at our 2016 Ford Mustang Premium Convertible with 2.3 liter turbo EcoBoost engine, good for 310 horsepower and 320 pounds-feet of torque. This car, it might be an opportunity car for the person who's looking for an almost new Mustang without the new car price, being that it's under 12,000 kilometers on this 2016, under 12,000 kilometers. Take a look at this video, take a look at the photos on our listing and the other videos. You're going to agree that there isn't a mark on this car. The only flaw I can find is that it does not have rear floor mats. So please dial it up, CollectorCarCanada.CA. It's lot number 190, CollectorCarCanada.CA, lot 190. Take a look when you have a chance. This car is going to make someone happy. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.